I see an organization as a necessity. If you want to get things done, you work together as a group of people with common interests. You don't have to believe alike or accept all the same things, but you have a common general interest, UFOs. And if you try to go it alone, you can have fun. You can find things on the internet. You can occasionally talk to somebody, but you're not going to answer the mystery. And it's been shown that teams of people, more minds working on a problem are much better than individual minds all over the place trying to work it alone. I became interested in UFOs in the mid-1960s. That seemed like a long time ago now, but I was a young engineer working at McDonnell Douglas on the Gemini program. And my responsibility was the equipment for the life support system. So during the missions, of course, I monitored the performance and also listened to the astronaut chatter and all. And when the first Gemini was launched, it was unmanned. And as it came around the Earth the first time, radar picked up two things with it. And of course, we, the builders of the vehicle, thought maybe it had broken up at launch. And that was a real panic, because if it had, Gemini would have been done for. It turned out, though, in the second orbit, the two things weren't there anymore. So it was just kind of a discussion item that got everybody's attention, and I thought no more about it for many months. And then when the Gemini 4 flew with astronauts McDivitt and White, while they were sailing around up there, Jim McDivitt called Capcom and he said, there's something up here. And I listened to that and I thought, oh, that's really weird. And Capcom didn't respond to him. And he went on doing his other work, of course. And then after several minutes, Capcom came back and said, is there anything still there? Or something of that effect. And he said he'd take a picture, and he did. Later, after he landed, he went to see the picture, and it turned out the picture he was shown, he said, didn't look like what he took the picture of, which was kind of bizarre. Now, some people tried to say, well, it was a booster. You know, but he was smart enough. You know, this is a general in the Air Force, as a NASA astronaut, smart guy, good pilot, good observer, knows what he's seeing. He said, oh, I checked in with that, and the booster was 6,000 miles away. It's not in my line of visibility. And that was kind of the end of it. But I kind of stewed over that. We were working 7 days a week to get these craft up there. And something's just sailing around up there. I got to figure out what that is, because we ought to be able to do that. And soon after that, there was an airline case out of Missouri where the FAA asked the airline pilot to move change his direction of flight and alter, instead of going straight to Kansas City, to go up past Kirksville, Missouri, and then over to Kansas City, because there was something over Kirksville. So I got involved in that case. And then I found this pilot, I still remember his name even, it was Captain Don Lochner. And he was such a good pilot and such a good observer that he could describe everything that was going on. I said, God, I got an astronaut and now I got a pilot, and they're both telling me something unusual is up there. This is really neat. I eventually went with the pilot on CBS television in St. Louis, and he told his story there, the two of us together. And so I was quickly getting my feet wet with UFO information that was highly credible, with excellent witnesses. The demand got so much for our services that we decided to form the Midwest UFO Network, in about 7 states around Illinois. And we held a picnic in my backyard and invited people we knew that had an interest in this from all these different areas, and concluded we would have an organization. And so we elected Dr. Alan Utke, a professor out of Wisconsin, as the first director of MUFON. And he stayed with it about a year and then found out it was just too much work on top of his professorship. And Walt was really the stimulator of making it happen, so we elected Walt, the international director, at that point. And we didn't call him international then, but within 2 years we had people from all over the world wanting to join. So we changed it from Midwest UFO Network to Mutual UFO Network, and it's still MUFON. And we've gone from there. We went from like 15 or 20 people organization, and at one point we got up to about 6,000 members. So you need to be able to work together, set some standards, and that's what organizations do. MUFON sets standards for ethics and how to handle things, how to treat people. It set standards by having a mission and having goals and having strategies to meet those goals. And that focuses your work. You're not just dancing all over the map. You're actually focusing on what you're going to do, and you're picking up then people that have the skills to do that, which in an organization you can provide the whole range of skills. Right now, MUFON has roughly 350 consultants and research specialists. Consultants are generally PhDs, MDs, and the like. Research specialists are generally MAs, MSs, things like that, degreed people also. Not necessarily, but that's the general criteria. So then when you have a consulting group like this, you can have an expert on virtually every field that's at your fingertips. You don't have to go look on the internet. You don't have to go look in an encyclopedia. You can take the person that's really alive and out there today that's working with you. So as an organization, you have that sort of thing. You also set investigative criteria. It's very important to investigate something here and in Chicago and in Los Angeles and somewhere else in the same way. So when you get done, you have data that's apples and apples, not apples and oranges. So if you set some investigating standards, some basic formats of what you're looking for, you can get all the basic data. But that doesn't limit your investigation. You can go off and ask anything else. And that's the secondary information that sometimes is the important thing that answers whether or not this is a real UFO you're investigating. So having the investigative criteria is really important. We came up with an investigator's manual. We've had 4 or 5 editions. We're ready to put out a new edition because investigative techniques are changing. Not so much the technique, but the tools that you use in the technique are changing. And so that is the real net worth of an investigative organization. Also, if you're out on your own by yourself, something comes up, you probably don't have any credentials to go get involved other than pushing your way in. With MUFON, we provide an ID card, we provide the backing of the organization. It opens a lot of doors for you. And that is really necessary at times. I've gone into police departments and asked for help, and with the MUFON credentials, and they jump right over and help. I've had other people say, well, I called the police and they told me I was nuts. I said, well, yeah, but how did you approach them? You have to have some finesse in this. And so an organization is an important thing. We use the internet to look for leads on cases. Just because it's on the internet doesn't mean we believe it's a UFO. It's not a belief situation. It is a fact situation. What are the facts? Just like Joe Friday used to say, just the facts, ma'am. That's what we're looking for. Our mission is the scientific investigation of UFOs for the benefit of mankind. You say, why the benefit of mankind? Well, because this is an earth-shaking situation. We've had UFOs dating back way into history, but in modern times, from the beginning of World War II on, we've had lots and lots of UFOs reported by highly credible people or groups of people. Military pilots, for instance, they see UFOs all the time in war zones. They usually can't report it because of security things. But every once in a while, we get a family member of a pilot coming out of Iraq right now saying, yeah, we ran into a UFO situation while flying an F-18 over Iraq. On the secondary side of it, people are involved in this, and people are sometimes harmed by UFOs, sometimes just scared by them. Sometimes they're pushed into a belief situation where they think somebody's going to take care of them because there's UFOs. All these are a little bit dangerous because that's not the real world. The real world is that there's something going on there. It's real. It's definitely real. It's technological. And I believe it's not ours.